most breaking of breaking news is that Bradley Cooper is being accused of a word that I don't even want to say, Spike. I don't even want to...
Really?
I find this to be a bizarre way to use this phrase, but he's being accused of, and I'm just reading off of NBC News here, so everyone's going to have to forgive me. It says that Bradley Cooper is accused of quote-unquote Jew face after fake nose in Maestro. Leonard Bernstein's children defend the prosthetic nose that he's wearing. So he's playing Leonard Bernstein. And in order to play Leonard Bernstein, he made the decision as an actor, he also co-wrote the script, by the way, to wear a prosthetic nose. Now, much in the same way that, De Niro did in Raging Bull, that's prosthesis.
Okay.
De Niro in Cape Fear had his teeth altered and had prosthesis in that as well.
Okay.
This is not uncommon. You have Charlize Theron in Monster wore prosthetics. I mean, this is not uncommon.
How about Nicole Kidman in The Hours? Her face was unrecognizable.
This is a thing that, actors do when they're acting because they want to portray a different person or a different character. I don't know how much of this is real versus how much of this is cooked up controversy so that more people will talk about what is otherwise going to be a very boring movie. Right.
Well,
so
I think it's real because the anti-Semitic movement is valid and strong and active and vocal and saying about this particular instance that, look, why is it that our culture is the one that people still allow this to be, appropriated? Is that the right word? Okay. Appropriation, right?
Sure.
And Sarah Silverman was instrumental in this, to the word Jew face.
Okay.
The strapping on of a prosthetic nose is anti-Semitic trope, and she dates back to the Nazi era when Nazi propaganda portrayed cartoonish Jews with exaggerated features, right, in a very horrifically pejorative manner. Now, adding a prosthetic to look more like the person you're impersonating is one of the tenets of acting.
Yeah, and I mean, the intent is to showcase the life of Leonard Bernstein, who is very accomplished and arguably, one of the most impactful composers of the 20th century.
Easily.
So when you say that if I'm wearing a prosthesis and it's in a good effort attempt to capture the man's essence, you either have an astroturfed campaign to try to gin up more publicity for the movie that's going to be very bad and very boring, or this is people being mad for no reason, because often, Spike, people get mad so people pay attention to other things that they care about. This has been the case. I couldn't tell you how many times. Like, how many times have we gone over the Tropic Thunder discourse with Robert Downey Jr., right? How many times have we had to try to explain to people that Robert Downey Jr. wearing blackface in that movie is him making fun of actors who take acting too far, in up to and including wearing blackface. Like that, it is a meta commentary on the conception of wearing blackface, right?
Yeah.
I really don't like it when people attack art. I don't like it when people do it on the right, and I don't like it when people do it on the left. If you don't like it, fine. There's lots of art that I don't like that I find to be unbelievably offensive. I don't take it in. I don't bother with it. I just move on with my life. But instead, what we have to do now is let everybody around us know how we are actually the people who get to gatekeep. We are the ones who actually get to establish what is appropriate and inappropriate behavior or standards or whatever it is. And if that's the case, Scarface doesn't get to get made.
Right.
Raging Bull doesn't get to get made. The list goes on and on and on. I find it to be incredibly boring. And also, intellectually, I find it to be incredibly lazy. Because this is the way, okay, so if we have this standard, and let us go back to Shakespeare, we have a bunch of men playing women.
Yes. Yep.
Well, it looks like Shakespeare was an awful bigot. I mean, it's just like, can we just drop this thing where we are so hypercritical of not even the art, but the attempt at the art is where we are now, right?
What do you think about the argument that non-Jewish actors shouldn't be given roles of playing a Jewish person?
Don't care.
Well, that's one of the arguments being made against this Bradley Cooper role. They got a non-Jew in a Jewish role.
Oh, okay. Oh,
well, we wouldn't, I mean, I can understand, for example, if you're playing someone of Asian descent and it's no longer appropriate to put a non-Asian in that role. I'm not talking about Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's, which was obviously a sign of the times, right?
Obviously.
But these days, you will use a person. You know, don't use a non-Hispanic person to play a Hispanic. Don't use a non-Asian to play an Asian. And these folks are saying, why is the Jewish? Is it persuasion? Well, I'm not even sure. I thought Jewish was religion. I don't even know how to carefully say these things.
Yeah, sure.
So, but can you have a non-Jewish person play a Jewish character in a film? A prosthetic nose aside.
Okay, how many times has Antonio Banderas played a Muslim individual? Dozens?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How many times has, what's his name? He's such a good actor. He was Poe Dameron in Star Wars. What's his name? Oscar Isaac?
Oscar Isaacs, yes.
Oscar Isaac's early career was playing Muslims. His early career...
Albanians.
Working with Ridley Scott in that
Right.
awful movie that he made with DiCaprio. What was that movie called? It doesn't matter. If you look at these actors, we often take Hispanic actors and we make them Middle Easterns. Like, he's such a great actor. I always forget his name. He's Australian. He's Aboriginal. He was in Whale Rider. He was Smiley.
Oh, I know exactly the guy you're talking about. I don't know his name either, but he's brilliant.
Smiley in Training Day.
Yes.
He's Australian. He's Aboriginal. He's always cast as
Hispanic. Always.
He's always cast as what's his name? Pablo Escobar.
Right.
Again and again and again and again and again. I'll give you another example. Benicio del Toro is Spanish. The man is European in descent, and who does he always play? Mexican cop, Hispanic guy. I mean, if I can break this down, I can atomize it to the point of absurdity. And the reason I do that is because that's how I view this thing with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
I can break it down to the point where, well, if you're from the Caucasus, then you can't play anybody south of the diaspora. And if you're, you know what I mean? We can get real racist with it if we want to. I just choose not to because I'm not a bigot. And so if Bradley Cooper wants to showcase the life and times of one of the greatest composers of all time and then play that man in a respectful way, I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah, there's got to be malicious intent, I think.
I agree.
I mean, now they're saying that they're against people using fake accents.
Right.
To play, don't strap on an Irish accent in a movie if you're not Irish.
Yeah, that would have
been fine if Far and Away had never gotten made, because that was the worst attempt at an Irish accent ever made. But that's an artistic, not a cultural.
Right.
Question.
We'll take a really quick break.